welcome to the Retirement Wealth Podcast. We're so glad you're joining us today. If you're trying to figure out when to start Social Security for maximum benefits, you've come to the right place.
Absolutely, Emily. It's such an important decision, and it can really impact your retirement income. So we want to help you navigate that.
Right. We'll be diving into the different factors to consider, like your health, your retirement goals, and even the age you choose to claim Social Security.
And let's not forget about spousal benefits. There are so many layers to this, and we want to make sure you have all the information you need to make the best choice for you.
Exactly. Plus, we'll share some strategies that can help you maximize your benefits and potentially boost your overall retirement plan.
Yes, and we'll also touch on common misconceptions. It's easy to get overwhelmed, but we're here to simplify it all for you.
It's all about making informed decisions, right? So let's jump into it. David, what's the first thing our listeners should consider when thinking about when to start their Social Security benefits?
So Emily, when it comes to Social Security, timing really matters. And right now, it's especially crucial for a few reasons.
Right. With so much uncertainty in the economy, people are probably feeling a bit anxious about their retirement plans.
Exactly. I've seen a lot of folks who are approaching retirement age worried about inflation. It's like, they've been saving diligently, but with the rising cost of living, they're questioning if their savings will be enough.
Yeah, that's a big concern. And I think many people underestimate how inflation can erode their purchasing power over time.
Absolutely. For instance, I spoke with a couple recently. Let's call them John and Lisa. They're in their early 60s and have been planning to retire in the next couple of years. But with inflation rates hitting historic highs, they're now reconsidering. Should they delay their Social Security benefits to ensure they get the maximum amount?
That's a tough decision. And I guess the longer they wait, the larger their monthly benefits could be, right?
Exactly. Each year you delay claiming your Social Security can increase your benefits by about 8% until age 70. But, it's not just about the math. It's about their overall financial picture.
Right, like how much they've saved, their other income sources, and, of course, their lifestyle expectations.
Yes, and let's not forget healthcare costs, which can be a real wild card in retirement. One medical emergency can really put a dent in their savings.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize how expensive healthcare can be, especially as they age.
Exactly. John and Lisa are also worried about potential healthcare expenses. They're considering if they should use their savings to cover those costs instead of relying solely on Social Security. But if they delay Social Security, they might have more financial freedom in the long run.
That makes sense. And what about market volatility? That's another layer of complexity to their decision-making.
For sure. With the markets being so unpredictable lately, many retirees are concerned about how their investments might perform. Some are even thinking of claiming Social Security earlier to avoid drawing down their investment accounts in a down market.
Right, so they're looking for stability?
Exactly. But there's a trade-off. If they claim early, they might end up with less money over their lifetime. It's like you have to weigh the immediate need for cash flow against potential long-term benefits.
And there's also the tax implications, right?
Yes, good point. Depending on their income, Social Security benefits can be taxed. If they're still working or have significant income from investments, claiming benefits early could push them into a higher tax bracket.
Wow, so many moving parts here. It must feel overwhelming for people trying to figure it all out.
It can be, and that's why having a solid plan is essential. Let's talk about legacy planning for a moment. Many people want to leave something for their children or grandchildren, right?
Absolutely. And if someone claims Social Security too early, they might be leaving less for their heirs.
Exactly. I had a client, let's call her Susan, who was really focused on her legacy. She decided to delay claiming her benefits until 70. Allowing her to maximize her lifetime benefits. Her thought was, if she could secure a higher monthly income, she'd have more to leave behind for her family.
That's a smart strategy. And it probably gives her peace of mind, knowing she set up her loved ones too.
It does. There's an emotional side to financial security that can't be ignored. Many retirees just want to enjoy their retirement without the constant worry about money.
Yeah, feeling secure can really enhance their quality of life.
Definitely. And let's not forget the current economic trends. With the job market fluctuating and the cost of living rising, People need to be proactive about their retirement strategies.
So what's the takeaway here?
Well, it's all about the balance. Timing your Social Security benefits can be a critical part of a retirement plan, especially in today's economic climate. You want to ensure you're making an informed decision based on your unique circumstances.
Right. So it's really about understanding the bigger picture, your health, your savings, your income sources, and your long-term goals.
Exactly, Emily. By addressing these factors, individuals can create a more comprehensive retirement plan that withstands market fluctuations and inflation.
And I think that sets the stage for some actionable strategies we can dive into next.
So, when it comes to Social Security, one of the big questions is, when exactly should you start taking your benefits, right?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people get confused about that.
Yeah, and it's understandable. The decision can significantly impact your overall retirement income. So let's break it down. The earliest you can claim Social Security is at age 62, but
that's not necessarily the best option, is it?
right. If you start at 62, you could see your benefits reduced by up to 30% compared to waiting until your full retirement age, which for many people is around 66 or 67.
So let's say someone is eligible for $2,000 a month at their full retirement age. If they take it at 62, they might only get, what, $1? $400?
Exactly. That's a significant difference over time. And if you live, say, 20 or 30 years into retirement, that reduction really adds up.
And then there's that whole idea of waiting until age 70, right?
Yes. If you wait until 70, your benefits can increase by about 8% each year past your full retirement age. So that same person could potentially get around $2, $640 a month if they wait until 70.
That's a big incentive to hold off, especially if you're in good health and think you'll live a long life.
Exactly. It's all about your personal situation. You really have to consider your health, your financial needs, and even your family history.
Like, if you have a family history of longevity, it might make sense to delay benefits.
Right, and don't forget the break-even point. For many people, it's around their mid-70s. If you're planning to live beyond that, waiting can be more beneficial.
That's a great point. And what about the impact of working while receiving benefits?
Ah, yes. If you claim benefits before your full retirement age and continue to work, your benefits could be temporarily reduced if you earn above a certain threshold, which is about $19,560 for 2023.
So it's like, if you earn over that amount, they deduct $1 from your benefits for every $2 you earn above the threshold?
Exactly. And that's a crucial consideration for early retirees. It might be better to wait until you're fully retired before claiming benefits.
So it sounds like there's a lot to think about. And that leads us to asset allocation, right?
Yes. Understanding how to allocate your investments is key, especially in those years leading up to retirement.
How would you suggest someone approach that?
Well, a common rule of thumb is the 70-30 portfolio, where 70% is in stocks and 30% in bonds when you're younger. As you get closer to retirement, you might shift that to a more conservative mix, like 60-40, or even 50-50.
Right, because you want to protect those assets as you approach retirement age.
Exactly. And it's also about diversification. You don't want all your eggs in one basket.
So what are some specific investment vehicles that could be beneficial?
Good question. You want to consider tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks and IRAs. For example, contributing to a Roth IRA can be a great strategy, since those withdrawals are tax-free in retirement.
And that's huge for tax planning, isn't it?
Absolutely. Plus, if you're in a lower tax bracket now than you expect to be in retirement, it makes a lot of sense to pay those taxes up front with a Roth.
What about traditional IRAs?
Traditional IRAs can be beneficial as well, especially if you need the tax deduction now. But keep in mind, you'll pay taxes on those withdrawals in retirement.
And then there's the whole required minimum distributions, or RMDs, that kick in at age 73.
Yes! That's another factor to consider. With RMDs, you're forced to withdraw a certain amount each year, which can impact your tax situation.
So how do you manage that?
You might consider a strategy where you withdraw just enough to stay in a lower tax bracket. That could help minimize your overall tax burden.
So it's about being strategic with your withdrawals.
Exactly. And then there's the bucket strategy, which can work well alongside that.
Right. The bucket strategy involves dividing your investments into different buckets based on when you'll need to access the money, correct?
Yes, you typically have one bucket for short-term needs, like cash for the first few years of retirement, and then longer-term buckets that can afford to take on more risk.
That makes a lot of sense. It helps manage your cash flow while also allowing for growth in the long term.
And it can reduce the stress of market fluctuations too, particularly in those early years of retirement.
And let's not forget about real estate investments.
Absolutely. Real estate can be a great way to diversify your portfolio and generate passive income in retirement.
And it can help hedge against inflation, right?
Yes. Real estate often appreciates over time, and if you have rental properties, that can provide a steady income stream.
So whether it's stocks, bonds, or real estate, the key is finding a balance that aligns with your goals and risk tolerance.
Exactly. And remember to reassess your strategy regularly, especially as your circumstances change.
So with all that said, what are some common pitfalls that people should avoid when planning their retirement strategy?
Great question. Let's dive into that. You know, Emily, one of the biggest pitfalls I see with people planning for retirement is claiming Social Security too early. It's tempting, right? You want that guaranteed income, but the long-term effects can be pretty significant.
Absolutely, David. I mean, I get why people might feel that way. They think, I've worked hard for this money, why not start getting it now? But that can really impact their benefits down the line.
Right. So let's say someone claims at 62 instead of waiting until full retirement age or even age 70. They could lose out on thousands of dollars over their lifetime. For example, I had a couple come in recently, and they were both really eager to start claiming right at 62. They thought it would give them more financial freedom early on.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. What happened with them?
Well, after running the numbers, it turned out that if they had waited just a few more years, they could have turned that monthly benefit into something significantly larger. I mean, we're talking about a difference of over $200 a month, which adds up when you consider they might be relying on that for 20 or 30 years.
Wow, that's a huge difference. So what do you think led them to make that decision?
A lot of times, it's a mix of fear and lack of information. They didn't realize how much their benefits would grow by waiting. Plus, there's that fear of not being around to enjoy it if they wait too long, you know? But it's important to look at the bigger picture.
Exactly. And speaking of the bigger picture, I've seen people not factoring in taxes when they're planning their withdrawals. It's like they think the number in their bank account is all theirs.
Yes, that's a common oversight. A retiree might plan to withdraw a certain amount thinking it's going to be tax-free, but surprise, they might end up in a higher tax bracket or have to pay taxes on their Social Security benefits.
Right. It can really eat into what they actually get to spend. I remember talking to a retiree who was shocked to see how much tax was taken out when he started withdrawing from his retirement accounts.
That's a classic example. It's crucial to understand how different accounts are taxed, like traditional IRAs versus Roth IRAs. Having a strategy in place for withdrawals can make a world of difference.
And then there's the healthcare aspect. So many people underestimate their healthcare costs in retirement.
Absolutely. I often tell clients to expect that healthcare will be one of their largest expenses. A couple might think they're covered with Medicare, but they forget about copays, prescriptions, and long-term care.
That's a great point. I read somewhere that a retired couple could expect to pay over $300,000 in healthcare costs throughout retirement. That's mind-blowing.
It really is, and it's easy to overlook until it's too late. I had a client who didn't budget for those costs and ended up having to sell off some of their investments to cover unexpected medical bills.
Wow, that must have been stressful for them.
Yeah, it was. They were already in their late 70s, and that financial strain added a lot of pressure. Planning for healthcare expenses is essential, and it's important to build that into your financial plan early on.
And then there's the longevity risk. People are living longer these days, which is fantastic, but it also means you need to plan for a longer retirement.
Right, and that's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's great to have more time to enjoy life, but on the other hand, if you haven't planned accordingly, you could outlive your savings. I had a client who thought they'd be just fine with their current savings. But when we ran the numbers with their life expectancy, they realized they might run out of money in their mid-80s.
That's such a wake-up call. What did they do?
They decided to adjust their asset allocation. They were too conservative, which meant their money wasn't growing enough to keep up with inflation and their long-term needs. We worked on a more balanced portfolio that still allowed for some growth while managing risk.
That's a smart move. So what are some red flags people should look for early on to avoid these pitfalls?
One red flag is if they're overly reliant on one income source, like Social Security alone. That can be dangerous. Or if they haven't revisited their financial plan in a while, that's another sign. Life changes, expenses change, and your plan needs to adapt.
That makes sense. It's like having a car. You don't just set it and forget it. You need to check the oil, rotate the tires, right?
Exactly. And if someone is hesitant or unsure about their financial future, that's worth investigating further. It might be time to get a second opinion or consult a financial planner.
So true. And when it comes to asset allocation, if someone is still heavily invested in stocks when they're close to retirement, that could be risky, especially if we hit a market downturn.
Definitely. A sudden drop in the market can have a lasting effect on your retirement savings, especially if you're in the withdrawal phase. Taking a more conservative approach as you near retirement can help mitigate that risk.
So to wrap this up, what are some actionable steps people can take to avoid these pitfalls?
First, assess your current situation. Look at your income sources, expenses, and how long you expect to live in retirement. Second, consider consulting a financial advisor to help create a comprehensive plan that accounts for taxes, healthcare, and investment strategy.
And don't forget to keep reviewing and adjusting that plan over time.
Exactly. Retirement planning isn't a one-and-done kind of deal. It's a journey. And being proactive can make all the difference in achieving a secure and fulfilling retirement.
That's such great advice, David. I'm sure our listeners appreciate these real-life lessons and tips to help them on their retirement journey.
Glad to share, Emily. Now let's talk about what steps they can take next to ensure they're on the right track. All right, so now that we've talked about the timing of Social Security benefits, let's dive into some practical steps folks can take right now.
Yes, I love this part. It's all about actionable steps. So where should people start?
Well, first things first, if you haven't already, check out the Social Security Administration's website, ssa.gov. They have a ton of resources, including calculators that can help you estimate your benefits based on when you decide to start receiving them.
That's a great point. It's like having a little crystal ball for your retirement income, right?
Exactly. And, I also recommend looking into retirement calculators from places like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. They all have tools that can help you project your retirement savings and see how different choices might affect your overall plan.
Those tools are so helpful. They really let you visualize your financial future. What about books or podcasts? Are there any you'd suggest?
Absolutely. One book that comes to mind is The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. It's approachable and really breaks down investing in a way that feels manageable.
I've heard great things about that book. And what about podcasts?
You can check out The Retirement Answer Man with Roger Whitney. He provides great insights into retirement planning and often covers Social Security topics.
I love that. Now, aside from resources, what are some small habits people can adopt right away?
A good starting point is to review your investment portfolio quarterly. Just taking some time to assess how your investments are performing can help you stay on track.
And running retirement projections regularly can be so beneficial too, right?
Absolutely. Even if you just do it once a year, running those projections helps you understand if you're on course or if adjustments are needed.
It sounds like a little bit of maintenance can go a long way.
For sure. And, don't forget about tax software. Programs like TurboTax or H&R Block can help you understand how your retirement accounts will affect your taxes. This is especially important as you start withdrawing funds.
That's a smart tip. It's all about being proactive.
Exactly. And for those still in the accumulation phase, consider setting up automatic contributions to your retirement accounts. It makes saving feel effortless.
Yes, it's like paying yourself first. And if you're unsure about your investment choices, working with a financial advisor can really help clarify things.
Right. Even just a one-time consultation can give you a clearer picture of your retirement landscape. It's never too late to improve your plan,
Totally. And just getting started is so important.
And don't forget about your health. As you plan for retirement, consider looking into health savings accounts, HSAs. They offer tax advantages for medical expenses and can be a great addition to your retirement strategy.
That's such a good point. Health costs can sneak up on you, so being prepared is key.
Exactly. And, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, just tackle one thing at a time. Maybe start by making that SSA.gov account, then move on to a retirement calculator, and so on.
Yeah, breaking it down into smaller steps makes it less daunting.
So those are some practical first steps. With the right tools and habits, you're already on your way to strengthening your retirement plan.
I'm excited about that. It feels good to take control of your financial future.
It really does. And if you keep your eye on the horizon, you'll find that it's never too late to adjust your sails.
Absolutely. I hope our listeners feel inspired to take some of those steps.
They should. There's so much potential ahead of them, and it all starts with a little action today.
With that in mind, let's recap what we've covered today.
Well, as we wrap up, let's recap some key points about when to start Social Security.
Yeah, definitely. First off, one of the biggest takeaways is that the age you choose to start benefits can really impact your overall retirement income, right?
Exactly. If you start at 62, you could see a reduced benefit, but waiting until 70 can significantly increase your monthly payments.
Right, and then there's the whole consideration of your health and life expectancy. It's not a one-size-fits-all decision.
That's true. You really need to weigh your personal situation, your financial needs, and your health history.
And let's not forget about spousal benefits. If you're married, coordinating benefits can make a big difference.
Absolutely. It's important to think about how your decision affects your partner as well.
So many factors to consider. But the key is to plan ahead and make informed choices.
Yeah, and remember, building and protecting your retirement wealth is a journey. It takes thoughtful planning and sometimes a little patience.
For sure. And we hope today's discussion helps you feel more empowered to make those decisions.
If you enjoyed this episode or found it helpful, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Tell us your biggest takeaway, or if you have any questions. And don't forget to share this episode with someone who's planning for retirement or is already in it.
Next time, we'll dive into another important topic. How much do you need to retire early?
That's going to be a great one. We'll explore some numbers and strategies to help you reach that goal.
Thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate you being here.
Until next time, take care.
Bye for now.